All right, hi everybody. My name's Jeff Jeffroy. If good volume, can you give me a thumbs up? Okay, great. Thank you. All right, I'm Director of Product Marketing for our cloud products. My background before coming to Altium, I've been a product manager for almost 20 years with hardware companies. So working with design firms, OEMs and automotive, industrial automation. So worked with a lot of research engineers, development engineers, getting dozens of products to market. So let's take a look at our newest platform solution. So in the past, as new tools come out, they're very expensive and very limited in who can use them. So, right, we've got the mainframe, and then as costs start coming down, that technology rolls out to more and more people, and those capabilities also are being used by more and more people. And then as the technology moves even further down the path, so today where we are, everyone's got a mini computer in their hand, they have real-time information at all times, and that's how people now are co-creating. Everyone has information, they have it at their fingertips, they can talk to anyone on their network and work together for whatever creativity they're doing, whether it's a design or a TikTok video, or whatever they're doing. And so let's take a quick look. When we take a look at computers, we just showed those mainframes, then moving to PCs, and then to mobile devices now where we are today, where we're always connected, we're sharing the same data, we have context of that data together in real time. Software, same thing. It started enterprise, big machines, very expensive. We moved to PCs, where distributed computing and software and loading disks. And now the last iteration is SaaS, moving to the cloud. So now all of this computer power, the costs are getting lower and lower and lower, and these tools are being used by more and more people, which allows people to, again, co-create whatever they're working on at the time. And so what Altium Develop is doing is taking those silos and those costly software packages and dispersing them to broader teams so more people can work together in context with the same information and co-create products. So we're going to talk about that. So collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. You can't throw a stick without hitting. Somebody talking about collaboration in teams, right? People working together. There's a lot of different tools that we have, and really what we're trying to do is have everyone with the same data, the same information, so we can make good decisions. But right now, there's a lot of different tools that people use to do that, right? We have email, maybe you're sending a Slack message, PDF files, emailing data files back and forth. So there's a lot of information going around. And so we call that collaboration, but in reality, what we have is disconnected tools and teams. Each team member is working on their set of data, they're using their tool, and then trying to communicate back and forth. But information gets lost, misplaced, maybe it shows up, but it's too late and you can't use it. And if you look at all the various folks on the pathway, procurement, maybe they're getting a look at something changes in their bill of materials, or maybe their cost went up. And they communicate that with electrical engineering, but did they do that before the first prototype boards were built? If not, you've got to do some rework and some respin on that. Requirements, if there's a requirement change, how does that impact the design? Does everyone know what's been changed? When you're doing the validation and testing, what requirements are we actually tracking to? And so there's a lot of different things going on. And the overall theme is each individual on this board has to proactively push their information and their updates to the rest of the team. That requires work and overhead and energy. And honestly, a lot of frustration too. People want to focus on their job, making this product great, not administrative overhead and communicating across to all the team members. So how do we fix that? We use co-creation. And so if you have a single platform where everyone can share the same data and the context that data is in, then you also have communication between all the various tools so that folks can work in their individual tool, but share that data effortlessly with the rest of the team. So what does Altium develop? It's that platform, that shared data and context for all of the team. And so we use that context to co-create together because you have the information that's the latest information. The insights that you get from that are every comment, every change, every decision that your team makes is collected and shared real time across the entire team. And so now team members have the latest information and they can make better decisions because they're making it on the current data, not the last email they saw that maybe is 3 weeks old right now. And then peer-powered network. If you have someone, you want to invite someone on the team to come take a look at something, maybe there's an RF design, you want to get your RF expert, invite them. Anyone, at any time you want to invite them to that network, and that combined brain power together to provide better products. There's no cost to have these extra folks come in and join. So if you want them to join, send them an invite and they'll come in and join your team. And so what are some of these specific changes between traditional collaboration and then moving forward with developed co-creation? So teams are in silos, which we mentioned, versus that shared environment with the same context and data, right? So in the past, data had to be transferred manually. You had to proactively push new changes in data to the rest of the team. Now it's shared live as changes are made across the entire platform. In the past, delays and surprises because of information wasn't shared and maybe we didn't get the latest. And now with real-time visibility, I'm not going to say we're going to stop all the delays and surprises, but now we're dramatically reducing those because people have the latest information as they're moving forward in the design. Endless meetings where now you've got built-in coordination. So if you want to have a meeting because you need to, but because there's maybe some very detailed, complex issues you want to discuss, but if not, you don't need to have meetings just to let people know 3 or 4 changes or updates were made, or maybe some decisions were made. That's shared across the platform. No slow or missing feedback when you send out requests for feedback as you're moving across a design review, perhaps. Instant feedback, again, is shared in the context of that decision. And then, again, that energy to make sure the team is aligned. Now you've got alignment because everyone is on the same platform with the same information, getting notified to changes that are important to them. So let's take a look at some real-world co-creation across the various team members. So in the first example, we're going to look at requirements and the ECAD data. So instead of requirements kind of being off to the side in a spreadsheet that people will go look at and maybe lose track of requirements, now the requirements are actually embedded into the platform. And so you start up front, lay those out. Those requirements are then rolled into the schematic as you're designing it. And then you can tag each component and circuit with the requirement that you're building to, so that as you move forward, people are curious why some design decisions were made. If it was based on a requirement, it's tagged and right at your fingertips. Then, as you move forward in the project, now you want to get into testing, collaboration is between the collaborators. You don't always have to be working with the ECAD data. In this instance, the project manager can get a dashboard with requirements and what is the status of validation and verification of that testing, and where do they stand? Are we green, or do we have problems that we need to get extra team members and specialists in that peer network again to jump in and help solve problems? Now you may have the project manager working with the ECAD data as well. If you've used Google Docs before, you have comments and tasks, so you can add comments right into your ECAD data, share that with a web viewer with the rest of the team, and all that information, all those conversations are captured in the platform for records today, and also maybe 3 months from now when you're going back, you're not trying to find that email from Joe that had that new update. It's all kept in the platform. Looking at BOM management with procurement, historically, engineers, when they were reminded, would download a bill of materials into a spreadsheet. They'd email to procurement. Procurement would start digging into those products, making sure they have a good end of life, the costing, availability, all of that data. But if a change is made and you forget to download and send it to procurement, they're working off an old list. And sometimes the prototype boards get built and then you realize that there's a procurement issue and that's another respin. So with the platform, the procurement folks can go look into the bill of material at that current state, whether it was changed an hour ago or a week ago, look at the various data. We have data input sources that they can compare with from Octopart, IHS Marketplace. and see what the status of those components are. If there's any issues, they can tag those components, send a message in the platform to the electrical engineer to take a look at, hey, we've got 3 or 4 alternatives, please approve these. And now you also have the history. When you're looking back, where did these components come from? Who changed this? Why did they change that? It's all tracked in the platform for future reference. Then if you're going another collaborator to collaborator from a manufacturing standpoint as they're getting ready for production, if there are any issues with procurement, again, those conversations can be collected for the whole team. If there is something coming end of life in production, you can tag those with a where is used report and then send that off to engineering to say, look, these are the 6 boards that this component is on, and we're going to have to get a respin or update on these. Mechanical enclosures can be fitted before the prototypes are actually built by sharing the ECAD and MCAD data back and forth with each other. And in this instance, you could have a mechanical engineer shaping the PCB for an enclosure size, push that over to their electrical engineer. Electrical engineer can work on it, push it back to the mechanical engineer. They take a look, maybe they need to move something for a connector, maybe there's a heat sink issue, so they've got to move some components around on the board as a proposal, push that back to your ECAD designer. They can accept it if it works fine, or if there's an issue, maybe there's an RF issue by moving it, that component. But again, those discussions are all captured. You're not doing screenshots, pointing arrows at which component you're moving, all done in real time, pushing back and forth. And then the history is also saved for future. And even getting down to software where you're picking your components in your schematic work. You'll let the software engineer know, here's the microprocessor that we're using, these are the pinouts that we're using, but maybe there's changes that come when the procurement does their review, there's a new microprocessor. Maybe as you're doing the board layout from the schematic, you have to change some of those pins. So software gets notified when those changes are made so that when they build a prototype, the software actually works, as opposed to software not working and trying to figure out what changed because they weren't notified. So this is what our vision of co-creation, where you have the single platform, everyone has the same data, the same context, and it's shared real time across the entire team. So Altium Develop is built for small teams of engineers that are looking to move fast. They don't want a lot of overhead. They're trying to keep their costs low. And so let's get into the cost for that. So you start with the workspace, and that's where folks collaborate. And that, as you can see, is just under $1,000 per year. And you get unlimited collaborators. So all those spaces that are around the circle, you can invite 5 of them, 10 of them, 50 of them, it doesn't matter. We have our design portal where that's where you can comment and share tasks across the team in our web browser. The BOM portal tool, which is where the BOM management takes place with procurement, as I mentioned, includes Octopart and IHS Marketplace data, and there's optional Silicon Expert and Z2 data as well if you prefer. The requirements portal for managing requirements and the verification and validation of those as well. And then you can seamlessly upgrade from your existing projects, data and users. And the foundation of the workspace is our Altium 365 platform. And so all those collaboration tools are not new. They've been out in the marketplace for over 5 years, so they're well tested. It's not something new that you're going to be doing debugging for us. It's actually been in use by thousands of customers today across the world. Now let's look at the authoring license. So if you want to edit the ECAD data and get into the design work, then each authoring license is about $1,000 each per year. You can do the schematic capture, board layout, multi-board, manufacturing documentation, and this really is our Altium Designer, is the foundation of that, which has been around for decades and is the market leader in the number of seats that are in place. So if you want to experience this co-creation, we have 2 ways you can do that today. If you take a look to my left, and we have our gold pillar over there, Altium Develop, you can get a demonstration. And then also we have a 30-day trial. With this QR code, we also have QR codes over at the demonstration stations. So you can bring those back to your team. Folks can jump in and take a look at what co-creation is moving into the future. So I appreciate it. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer those.